Welcome to West Texas Droning. Are you bored? Well, then let's test some batteries. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. Hey everybody, West Texas Droning here. I almost said a different greeting. I used to have another YouTube channel years ago called Guitar Rob, because you might tell I mess around with guitars a little bit. Anyway, I had the channel, and when I introduced my West Texas Droning, I'm tempted occasionally to say Guitar Rob, but I'm trying not to do that. At any rate, what I'm going to do here today is something really dumb, so you don't have to do it unless you come up with your own dumb thing. Then tell me about it, put it up so I can see what you do that's dumb. I decided I'm going to try to test the life of the batteries in different drones in a hover test. And I'm going to auto launch, auto take off the drone, let it hover where it ends up after the auto takeoff, and just wait until it says enough already, I want to go home, I'm tired, and it lands itself. The three drones I decided to test today are my DJI Neo with the Roku remote ID module mounted on top, and it had the prop guards. I also tested my Mini 3 with the standard battery, which requires a Roku remote ID mounted on top. Then I checked the Mini 3 with the Plus battery on it that requires no RID module. And then I tested my DJI Air 3. So the question is, ¿Quién es más macho? Let's test our first drone, the DJI Neo. Here's the takeoff. Now the DJI Neo hovered peacefully there for about 10 minutes until we started getting some warnings. And it went through the sequence of battery warnings and then said, I'm going to land. And there's a forced landing. And here's what that forced landing looked like. Pretty good landing. Now we're going to check out the Mini 3 with the Roku remote ID module mounted on top. Makes it a little heavy, but we have to have it for commercial use, right? So here's our Mini 3 takeoff. So the Mini 3 was good till about 22 minutes or so into the flight, and then the forced landing came about. So here's a sequence of battery warnings we got. And then here's our landing with the Mini 3. Now let's do the Mini 3 with the big battery, which requires no RID module. And note on this flight, the winds are a little bit higher and a little gustier than the previous test. Here's the takeoff. And all was good with the Mini 3 with the extended life battery until almost 30 minutes into the flight. And you might notice there when the forced landing goes in progress, it stops recording. You can see the dot there on the side. So here's the Mini 3 landing. Notice how it's getting bounced around there a little bit, and it lands a little bit off target. Now for the mighty Air 3. I did not get the takeoff. I'm sorry. Here's the hover test. It was hovering right. Well, we put it on takeoff, and then it was a good boy until about 32 minutes, 30 minutes or so, and then it goes into the warnings and then the forced landing, and then it ends up back on the ground. Now this was an exciting thing for me. I got to watch drones hover for about 30 minutes. It was a lot of fun. But now I want to show you my conclusions. Amazingly, the DJI Air 3 did not do as good as I had hoped. Notice that the times are based on auto takeoff activation to force landing touchdown. And here's the results. The DJI Neo with the Roku RID and the prop guards hovered 10 minutes 45 seconds. The DJI Mini 3 with the Roku Remote ID module hovered for 22 minutes and 21 seconds. The DJI Mini 3 with the extended battery and no RID module hovered for 33 minutes and 35 seconds. And the DJI Air 3 with the collision avoidance turned on hovered for 32 minutes and 34 seconds. That was kind of interesting to me. And even though the DJI Mini 3 had bouncier winds and the Air 3 had collision avoidance on, it still turned out that the DJI Mini 3 was más macho when it wore its big battery. Surprising conclusions. And I did point out to you that during the low battery warning on the Mini 3 with the extended life battery, as soon as that battery warning came on, the video recording stopped on the drone. Just something to be aware of. So those are my conclusions. You can take those to the bank, and kind of makes me reevaluate where I want to go with my next drone. If my Mini 3 ever dies, I'm kind of interested if I could ever find one of getting a Mini 3 Pro with its advantages with the anti-collision stuff, collision avoidance. At any rate, hope you enjoyed that little test. Ask that you like, comment, share, subscribe, and come back and see us next time. Thank you, and God bless.